What's up, fam? JC, Wrong to Strong. And today we're going to talk about Conair. The reason why I want to talk about it is because I recently flew back from Chicago and it was a piece of cake flight. Even though it's 3 hours and a half, it felt like nothing to me. And I asked myself, why was it so easy? Why? I've always questioned everything. And I came to realize is that all the times that I've flown in planes, most of the times, it's been with handcuffs, shackles, and that black box they put on you to pretty much connect you to your chains. And it's very, very uncomfortable. You're wearing a tight-ass jumpsuit, with your handcuffs, your feet cuffed, and a chain that runs from your feet all the way to the middle of your body, and you got everything pulled in together. That's what the black box does. It pulls everything together. It's the most uncomfortable feeling. It's the longest fucking ride of your life. I mean, I've done the bus, I've done the plane. Shit, I've even done the fucking boat. And, guys that have been doing it for a minute, they already know you're not going to eat nothing the night before and you're not going to eat nothing in the morning. They get you up about 2 in the morning. They start putting you in bullpens. And then they try to feed you fucking bologna with milk. Do you know what's going to happen if you eat that bologna and milk and you get on that plane and you're cuffed and you can't move? When you have to go to the bathroom, they uncuff one of your hands. That's it. The other one's cuffed. You already know what's going to happen. You're going to have to take a shit, and you're not going to be able to. You got one hand cuffed. The other hand is right here. So, you got that tight-ass suit that you have to try and take off from one side. You already know the deal, man. I would never eat when I knew I was going on transport. I would never eat. I didn't want to get up to use the bathroom. I didn't want to make my ride more uncomfortable than it already was. So, the night before, about 5, I would stop eating, stop drinking water. I would be good. I'd sip on it. A little bit of water here and there, but I already knew the deal. When I got transferred, I got picked up in Phoenix, Arizona at the airport. They flew me to California, dropped off some inmates there. Flew me to Vegas, dropped off some inmates there. Flew me to Oklahoma, dropped off some inmates there. Then we went back to Texas, dropped some inmates there. Then we went to Atlanta, dropped some inmates there. Then Alabama, dropped some inmates there. And then they flew me to Florida. It was the longest fucking day of my life. And the thing is that people don't realize that when you're being transported like that, you're being transported like cattle, like animals. You know what I mean? Like everybody squeezed in together. You have all the marshals, watching you with guns, and pretty much, even if you ask to use the bathroom, it's like being a pain in the ass. They get all pissed off. They don't want to let you go. It's a fucking hectic ride, man, and it's really, really like, it's messed up. It's messed up because you got a bunch of dudes. They got a bunch of time traveling like this, and in close quarters. Everybody's on top of everybody. You're lucky enough if they handcuff you to somebody that you actually enjoy, speaking to or like kicking it with. But half of the fucking time, you're fucking handcuffed to somebody you can't fucking stand when they're moving you around. So, I always tell people, I share these stories and these videos not to glamorize what I did or what I went through, but to give you an insight of what it is to do time and go through the process of, doing the time, being transferred, and the lessons that I learned from it. So hopefully you don't make the mistakes that I made and go that route. prison, there's some tough guys there. There's some tough guys that should be there. And there's also a lot of people that thought they were tough guys and they're not. And there's guys like me that made mistakes and got out and actually want to help other dudes not make the mistakes that they made, because I was lucky enough to get out of there. When I got transferred out of Mexico in an airplane, and I looked back at all the Americans and seen how fucked up they looked, I realized that I was lucky that I was actually in my prime, in my youth. I was in my prime of my violence. I was in my prime of, not being shocked of seeing people hung, people, getting killed, stabbed. I was in my prime of my violence, I always say. And I was lucky enough that I was actually able to make it out and make it back into the United States. The day that I landed back on American soil, I almost kissed the floor, and I was damn proud to be an American. I was happy to be back home. I was happy to be back in American prison. Mexican prison was horrible. And once I stepped over and I got into American prison, it was a little bit better. You're still doing time, but it was a little bit better. That whole transfer thing, I kind of feel like they do it to kind of see, because there's some dudes that actually do break. They get into fights. They can't just handle the stress, because it's very, very stressful. Even when I got transferred from Arizona to California in the bus, it was still 7-hour ride. When you're sitting there for 7 hours handcuffed and shackles, it's pretty intense, because then the cuffs start cutting into your skin. You start feeling almost like claustrophobic, and you want to like just rip everything off and fucking kill somebody. You know what I mean? It's very, very intense. And I give props to those that have made it out and are sharing a positive message about this, because nowadays, a lot of people are going to prison, man. A lot of people are going to prison, and the return rate's even more crazy. I work at the prisons here in Arizona. I work there every Friday, and 82% of inmates end up going back with bigger sentences. So, it's crazy to me, because I spent half of my life doing that, in and out, from being transported from planes, buses. I've even done the boat. I even got transported in a boat in the Mexican prison. So, I always tell people my biggest message is this, man. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from other people's mistakes. Learn from what people tell you not to do. Because honestly, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of adults in your years of growing up that told you not to do certain things. Why? Because they probably had done it already themselves, so they didn't want to see you make the same mistakes. But as kids, we think we know everything, and we don't want to listen. And guess what? My flight to Chicago after not being home in 15 years was bitter and sweet. I got to see some good people. I got to, work out in one of the last, real gyms, not LA Fitness, not, a real fucking bodybuilder gym. I got to see my daughter. I met my daughter for the first time 23 years. She's 23. I had never met her in person. So I got to do that. So it was very, very, it was good for me to open up those doors, and do that. But I must say this, that one of the moments that really, really hit me hard was when I seen somebody that I knew on the same corner, dressed the same way, and he was out there, selling the same shit. You could tell. And was like just looking old. It was just an older version. And just to see him like that made me realize that I I love Chicago. I'm born and raised. I'm fucking Chicago. I'm gangster to the heart. But it made me realize that I have nothing there no more. That it's not my life no more. Like, Phoenix has given me a new life, new friends, a new meaning in life, a purpose. I get to train people every day to change their lives, make better, fitness decisions, healthy food, everything. I get to work at the prison. I get to mentor inmates. There's so much I could go on and on and on. My online coaching business, like, Phoenix has adopted me in a way that I love Phoenix. I love the people here. I love my new friends. I love it. But I had to go back to Chicago to actually see, I guess you could say, the young JC, the kid that did all the chaos, the kid that was transported from bus to bus into, every prison that I went to, from Joliet to Stateville to East Moline to Dixon to, where else did I go? I did the gang program. It's crazy to think that I spent 17 years of my life in and out of prison, and all the transportation, the buses, the planes, like, everywhere I got sent. Because I've done state prison and federal prison. And, if you were to ask me if I could go back and change something, I would probably say no, because I wouldn't be who I am today, and I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So, that's what got my head thinking when I was on the plane flying back into Phoenix. And it felt like we went up in the air, we came down really fast, and it was done and over with. And I was like, man, that was a piece of cake. And I started thinking, I was like, why was that so easy? And then I realized it's because I did it without chains. So, with that being said, my message is this. Everything is easy when you do it without chains. You live an easy life, guess what? Life is hard. You live a hard life, life is easy. If you make the right choices, life changes. Give somebody a hug, don't judge nobody, and stay in your lane, please. And don't hate on my sunglasses. I like my sunglasses.